So coming from someone who absolutely loves his Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold and have made many videos on this channel talking about it, I find it very interesting for Marques Brownlee's review of the Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which he also brings up in the video that it's weird how it sounds like a first generation product, but it's not. It's a second gen. Yeah, they could have just gone with the Google Pixel Fold 2, but I think they wanted to put the Pro in there to make sure everyone understands it's a Pro level phone. Nonetheless, though, he had a quite interesting review. Now, last year, at the end of last year, he reviewed, or said, the best foldable phone was the OnePlus Open, which honestly, I could see why anyone would say that. It was a great phone. And he does actually make the joke that this kind of looks like the OnePlus Open. Making that joke forever, I feel like. Overall wise, he says that this is an amazing foldable phone. And really the biggest issue, obviously, is the cameras. The cameras are not that good. They're really not. And for a $2,000 phone, you wish you had a better camera system. But outside of cameras, these are absolutely perfect. And again, that's kind of what he reiterates. But the last point he says in this is that maybe this is a phone that you shouldn't buy and you should wait for the next generation. Which is weird because he said how perfect this phone was, but then he starts talking about the Tensor G5 chip and how that is right now rumored to be completely made by Google, not made by Samsung, and considered a amazing chip. Here's what I'll say about this. Again, someone who does love this phone and does promote this phone and says you should pick it up. I'm not sponsored or paid by Google, but I will say from the bottom of my heart, I love this phone and I recommend this phone. I have heard some people talk about that. Like, okay, the Tensor G5 chip's going to be amazing. It's going to be everything you want in a cup of tea. You should pick it up. You should wait to pick it up until that phone comes out. There's not much more you could really add on to this Google Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Really, this is almost at a point where I say it's perfect. The only thing I would say that you could add on to it was a better battery and better cameras. I think the Tensor G4 chip is perfectly okay. I'm able to use it and have really no setbacks at all. The Pixel Fold 1, the biggest problem was it would overheat. It had a 2-year-old processor in it, and it would overheat, and you wouldn't be able to do some things you wanted to do because, again, the Tensor G2 chip just wasn't ready for it. This is, again, processor-wise, I'm not saying that the G5 chip is not going to be good, but I don't really think you're going to... I wouldn't recommend waiting. And again, it really comes down to how much of a difference these chips really make. I've said it many times on this channel, but going for, like, for example, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor to a Gen 3, unless you're a very big power user, you're not going to see much of a difference. When you go to a Gen 4, you're not going to see much of a difference. Is there a difference? Absolutely. But it's not going to be to a point where you're going to write home about it. You're not going to look at it and be like, wow, this is so slow versus this phone. And again, yes, Google is going to improve some things on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, but I don't think it's going to be to a point where it's like this phone is nothing compared to that phone. So, again, like I said, I understand Marques Brownlee knows what he's talking about. He's, one of the best tech influencers out there for a reason. But I just don't think it's going to be, like, really that amazingly better. If you're going to make that argument, you should always wait for the next phone, right? You shouldn't even wait for the 10. You should wait for the 11. You should wait for the 12. That's the point of technology, is there's always going to be something that comes out next year that's better than this year. But for what it is, it's almost perfect. And I think anyone who picks up the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, you're going to love the phone. And yes, maybe next year is better. But that's why you want to see upgrades, right? That's why you want to see other companies to upgrade products. But I don't think anyone who buys this phone is going to regret it. I really highly doubt that. You get a perfect mix of a candy bar cell phone with a pro level, tablet inside. You get the best of both worlds of, two phones pretty much in one. So, yeah, it's such a weird, again, my reaction to this is so weird because Marquise Brownlee does praise it so much. And he says it's an amazing phone. It's so good. It's amazing. It's awesome. But then again, that last, hey, maybe you should wait because the Tensor G5 chip, it's again, what if the G5 chip isn't that good? What if the G5 chip is, again, based on speculation, it ends up being a dud. It's not as good. It's just a little bit more powerful than G4 chip. What happens then? Now you could have had this phone, but you waited a year, and you might be in a different financial situation. You might not want an affordable phone anymore. Like I said, there's all these what ifs. My personal opinion is if you want an affordable phone, that's the affordable phone to go for. Don't go for Samsung, go for Google. If you want to, in theory, wait a year because you think the Tensor G5 chip is going to be better, then I'm going to tell you right now, the Z Fold 7 is probably going to shock your world and light up your world, and it's going to look amazing. So you might just want to wait to the Z Fold 7. And if that's the case, you might want to wait for the Z Fold 8. It's again, you could play that game pretty much all day. Technology will always get better. It's just how it works. But tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys next one.